And that's why you should always have a backup. What's going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential podcast, the podcast for cover band musicians and band leaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. Here in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson, and this week, Dan is on the road. So I had to bring in a special guest, and I couldn't think of a better person to reach out to. This is Tory Smith, and Tori is the owner, proprietor,
co-founder,
just
brainchild,
hype man for
nerd.
for a company called Black Box Prompters, and he had reached out a while ago, and it just was a good time to actually get him on the show. So, Tori, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me.
This was one of those kind of serendipitous things because right before I left for NAMM, I believe somebody or company hit us up and wanted to talk about maybe doing some work, and I was like, well, I'll just see you there then. And sure enough, day one, because you guys are right by where the badges were picked up, I went over and I was like, hey, I'm the guy from the email.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I recognized you immediately. I was like, yeah, I know this. I know of you,
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
And, we got to talk pretty in depth about what the Black Box Prompter is all about and what you guys are after. And I think it's a fantastic product. So why don't we start at the beginning for you? What is your background? How did you end up in this particular kind of lane as far as products go, and how you ended up working or starting Black Box Prompter?
Great question. So my background is actually marketing. I've been doing marketing stuff, digital marketing stuff for the past 20-ish years. I'm dating myself a little bit. I ran an agency for about 10 years, and then basically, sold my equity and decided to launch my own startup. And I teamed up with a friend of mine that's just this uber brilliant guy, off the charts IQ. He's in his 60s, but he's been building AIs from scratch before ChatGPT was even a thing, okay? And he's got some patents that now Google owns and GE owns, and just ridiculously brilliant guy. He's also a drummer. And one day he came out to one of my shows, and we got this talking, and I said, hey man, let me show you what my brother's using for a lyrics prompter. My brother's the singer of the two bands I manage. And just a quick little side story, Adam. My brother's kind of cheap. He went to his garage and got a cardboard box from Amazon, cut it out, put black duct tape around it, and set his iPad in it, and that became his poor man's teleprompter. So I show my business partner Todd this. I'm like, hey man, and Todd just shook his head. He's like, oh my god, we could do better. And he goes, just last week, I tripped on this clunky one. I'm not going to name it by name, but it's one that's been around for many years, and it was real basic, overly basic. It was just showing JPEG files. It was and it had an IBM ThinkPad in it, and it was just. He's like, man, there's a better way. Now, remember this guy, my business partner, he's like an AI engineer. If you know what IoT is, he's been ranked one of the top 50 IoT engineers in the world, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, I got to do something with this brain of yours, And so let's find this gap in the market and see what we can do to build a really kick-ass lyrics prompter and do some things that nobody else is doing. So that was how we started Black Box Prompter. We launched it at the International Guitar Festival in Dallas in 2024. And from there, we're having a hard time even keeping them on the shelves. We're selling them faster than we can keep up with right now. So it's been a blessing.
Awesome. So, well, can you tell us about the your music stuff? Because you kind of buried the lead there that you've got a band already.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean I'm kind of a cover band nerd / hack, if you will. I'm the guy on YouTube trying to figure out how to play a lick from a 12-year-old. Because the 12-year-olds can nail it. But it's always been in my blood, man. I'm an 80s kid, and so my brother's a few years older than me, and so we started a top 40 80s band, your Journey, your Prince, your Billy Idol, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And then COVID hit, and then we stopped, and then, we use that time to kind of, polish our music, and after COVID, after the dust settled from COVID, it started going gangbusters, and then we spun off and we're like, hey man, we're in Dallas, a lot of people like country music down here. Now, honestly, I didn't grow up listening to a lot of country music, but I'm a marketing guy, and so I'm like, maybe there's a market for it, and there was, and my brother can sing country like nobody. It was incredible voice. So anyway, then we launched and did a 90s country band called 90 Proof Country. So you're hearing Garth Brooks, Toby Keith, Alan Jackson, all those guys. And now it's like we're getting double, triple, quadruple booked all the time. So it's been very, very, very good. We're kind of phasing out of the bar scene. We're doing more corporates, privates, and weddings and things like that. Been a great side hustle. Great side hustle. So definitely, and again, marketing background certainly doesn't hurt, and then having a really, really tight band. I've got players from Nashville and whatnot that are just as tight as can be. Very, very fortunate to have those guys. But yeah, all that being said, we on occasion we will use our prompter. Now most of this, now full disclosure, most of the stuff I have is memorized. But when there's brand new music, it's like, oh, how does that bridge go again? We'll bring the prompter out, and it's there. I don't like calling it a crutch. Crutch is kind of something like you have to lean on. I think of it more as it's there if you need it. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me kind of expand on that for a second. People sometimes that aren't familiar, they're like, man, who the hell would use a teleprompter? That's so unprofessional. Well, guess what? Most of your pros filling arenas use teleprompters. They do. I mean, now there's a much bigger, heavier duty. They have a teleprompter tech running it, and it's a whole different thing. But I don't care if you're Metallica, if you're Steven Tyler, they've all gone on record saying that they use a prompter. Okay, so I kind of want to nip that in the bud and be like, just because you're leaning on a prompter on occasion doesn't make you any less professional. Okay, I just want to put that out there for any of you, any of you trolls or naysayers that like, you're so unprofessional. No, but I will say this: you glance at it, you do not get fixated on it.
Yeah,
that's when it goes from being a professional performance to a very unprofessional performance.
Yeah, I can't think of like how many times I've been in the middle of a song where like the second verse is about to kick in and it's like I don't have it. And it's just one of those, and it's a song that you've done literally 500 times, but for whatever reason, wherever that thing is, it's just not there.
You're human. It happens. Yeah.
The prompter thing is an easy sell for me because I've lived it. I don't like I'm in an 80s band too. We always start every single show. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. First song they played on MTV.
First song played on MTV. Yes, you're true.
And there have been so many times where that first verse kicks in, and I'm just like, wait, what? And it's got nothing to do with whether you know it or not. It's so back there that sometimes it just doesn't come up. And so. Yeah, the idea of having something that can help you out in those moments is definitely something I can relate to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, there's no shame in it. There's absolutely no shame in it to have it there if you need it. Because the absolute worst sin you can commit on stage is forgetting your line and then just mumbling through it. Is it safe to say that's happened to you once or twice, Adam?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You just
once or twice, per gig, maybe?
Per gig. Yeah. Well, but no, you're human. How many thousands or tens of thousands of brain cells do we lose every day just by living? Not to mention exacerbated by if you consume a little alcohol here and there, whatever. So it happens, man. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the pros. I saw a clip the other day of John Bon Jovi. He was some slow ballad that he was doing, and then just in the middle of it, he just had this deer in the headlights look, and he and he walks over to the keyboard player. He's like, "Hey man, help me out here." It was so embarrassing. So happens to the best of them.
Here's a perfect example of a scenario where that might be needed. This past weekend, we got asked to do this like weird anniversary event. Well, it wasn't weird. It was the 40th anniversary of this Catholic Monsignor at this particular parish. And the person who put the thing on wanted us to do Call Me Al by Paul Simon, but like rewrote all of the lyrics to be about this guy because his name is Rao. So it was Call Me Rao instead of Al.
Okay.
And the lyrics that they sent didn't quite match the cadence of the original recording. And so I had to like rewrite them day of, and then the file didn't get updated in band helpers, so I had to rewrite them again after sound check. And then I went to go put them into the setup with my DIY prompter that promptly failed. And so I'm never going to do this again. I had my phone and I was reading it off my phone. And I hate that, but it was, the show must go on. It's got to happen. True. And so that was the solution to that. But you have come into this show at a very advantageous moment because my DIY solution has failed. And so I am very receptive to the pitch about why Black Box is the way to go. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about the product itself and what kind of helps you guys kind of stand out in the field?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'll first start off by saying this is no ordinary lyrics prompter or teleprompter, and we're going to talk about use cases as it applies to cover band musicians, right? Whether you're a solo artist or a band and you have multiple boxes on the stage. Okay. First off, I'll start with the hardware aspect of it, and then we'll talk a little bit about the software piece of it. But everything is actually assembled. I mean, it's cut with CNC machines, right? We use 9-ply Baltic birch plywood, some of the very, very strong, heavy duty plywood that's cut with a CNC machine, very very precise. So it's a very, very well made box. Okay. Now, for those of you who are able to view, I've got one here in the background here. This is a 24-inch screen, right? And this is black Duratec speaker paint. This is your industry standard speaker paint right here. It's got a big scoop handle on the side. This thing weighs about 26 pounds. Okay. Inside of it is a Raspberry Pi motherboard, where all the software is. It's built just for this. It's proprietary, yet it's universal. What do I mean by that? The software can only be found in the black box. It's meant for set lists, editing set lists, songs, transposing your chords. It's meant for cover band musicians, and it's all built into the box, so you don't have to subscribe to a monthly service. Once you buy the box, you're buying all the software that comes with it. Back to the hardware. So it also comes with this polycarbonate shield. We don't charge extra for this, okay? You have your basic kind of monitor screen, right? But we want to protect that screen because we've had beer bottles fall on this thing. We've had mic stands, and it didn't bat an eye. And we have yet, knock on wood, we yet to get a return on the screen busting. It's shatterproof, 30 times stronger than plexiglass, okay? So when I talk about really strong craftsmanship, we left no stone unturned, Adam, okay? Now, to protect the screen, we have a hard cover. I was seeing if I had one handy on me. We have a hard cover that's magnetic. It's got these magnets in the corner, and you set it on it, and it'll protect the screen. We also give you a touch-up kit in case you do get some scuff marks, because you will. You'll get scratches and scuff marks on the side. And then on the side, you've got some ports that my camera won't reach around, but I'll just I'll talk through it. You've got some ports where you can physically connect additional boxes to it with HDMI, but the software allows for wireless sync. I mean, you can basically get on your local hotspot and you can synchronize multiple boxes. And so if your bass player wants one and you're the singer and you want one, you can both have them. Now, what's cool about using wireless sync is, number one, there's no cable to mess with, right?
Yep.
You don't have to be out to the internet, right? You can be on your local hotspot, right? So because you're on the local same network. But we took it a step further. Maybe you're the rhythm guitar player and you're using a capo. Your bass player ain't using a capo.
Right.
So you guys need to see two different chord progressions, don't you? We can do that. You can show one set of chords on one, still be synchronized, and show a different set of chords on the other.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
rad.
you're the singer and you don't play guitar. Maybe you don't want to see the chords clutter up your view. You can actually hide the chords on one and show the chords on the other. And then earlier I touched on too, as a guitar player myself, sometimes you need to transpose on the fly, where you're in a rehearsal and the singer's like, dude, that's too high. Can you bring it down a half a step or a whole step or whatever? Yes, you absolutely can. You can auto, just like an Ultimate Guitar, if you guys are familiar. They got some really cool kind of built-in transposing features. It's very similar to that. You can actually select how many semitones or half steps you want to go up or down, and it'll change the chords. It's all driven by text, and there's logic in there that recognizes what the chords are, and then it can transpose accordingly. We don't support the national numbering system yet, but that is on the product roadmap for this year, because we talked to some folks in Nashville that have been asking about that. But as a workaround, we do have the auto transpose, which is pretty neat. So
Awesome.
Oh, I don't have it. This is the old pedal, but we have a new pedal that we're including. We call it the heavy metal pedal, and this thing is stout, man. It's made out of 14 gauge steel. It's got 3 foot switches, much like a stomp box, that you as a foot switch you'd use as a guitar player. Same sort of application, right? Super heavy. It's connected via USB. It's nearly 6 feet long, so you can kind of bring it out, if you want to. But super heavy duty. So we just launched that about 2 months ago. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
And then let's see what else. Yeah, let me get a little bit more into the software. So, people with vision issues. Okay. I get a lot of folks who, they're getting in their 50s or 60s. I've got somebody in their 70s. He said he had a detached retina. He called me up and said, man, I think I'm going to have to hang up. I love doing the gigs on the weekends, but I think I'm going to have to hang it up because I had the iPad in my face and I cannot make out what's going on. He goes, will your solution work? I said, well, let's try it out. I said, look, we have a dozen font sizes on here. Okay. You can get jumbo, pretty big. And so sure enough, he tried it out and he was so happy. He was like, man, I don't have to stop gigging anymore.
That's
Actually,
awesome.
I can actually keep doing this. And so stories like that, it just, to me, makes it all worth it, man. So yeah, so bigger font sizes. Let's see. It reads all your basic text files, your Google Docs, your Word, docx docs files, even PDFs. It can read PDFs, text-based PDFs, not
Yeah.
the images. If it's an image, it will show an image as it is. You just can't
Hmm.
zoom in and zoom out. So we always try to recommend get it kind of in a converted text format so that you have all the benefits of being able to like increase font size and the auto transposing and things like that. All that's just built in. It just works. Okay. We've also recently we've been using a thumb drive to transfer the files. So
Hmm.
which works, and we still do that. But for some of the older people, the thumb drive is kind of getting in the way. Meaning, like you'd have to drop songs in the songs folder, and people that
Yep.
aren't very technical, they're like I have to open up File Explorer, go to the songs folder. And I'm like, okay. So we have something called Easy Load. And
Okay.
basically, it's a website that says, hey, you have a unique code on the box, type in the unique code, and then through the internet, you can drag and drop your songs one at a time, and it'll download them through the internet to your box. Because this comes with Wi Fi.
Yeah.
So it makes song transferring really, really easy. And if folks still aren't getting it, it's a simple phone call. We don't charge extra to help them load their songs. Okay.
Right.
Now we can't preload the songs. There's obviously copyright laws that I would love to have a database of 500,000 songs on here. By the way, it will hold up to 500,000 songs
Okay.
and like 1,000 set lists. It's just ridiculous numbers. It has a 32 gig heavy duty gig industrial strength SD card inside. So that's about 500,000 songs.
Hmm.
Not that anybody's ever gonna like reach that level, but it's there. And man, I'd love to have a database. It's just unfortunately with ASCAP, BMI, and all the associations, that's a whole other animal. But if you have them, you download them. I can certainly walk you through how to transfer them to the box.
Nice. So beyond the initial setup and the importing and all of that, like how do you actually navigate around everything once your songs are inside the box?
I actually have it. Can I share my screen and kind of walk you through?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, so okay, so I don't know how many of you guys are actually seeing this versus just listening to it. I'll do my best to illustrate with words, but I can share my screen of my prompter right here. I've got it set up. And I can actually answer that directly. So to answer your question, how do you navigate? So we're not going to go into every little nuance. I'm just going to give you kind of a high level overview here. But as I mentioned, you have this is your main menu. So think of a hierarchy, right? Your top menu. At the top, you got song set lists. You have you connect to the internet. Singalong, I'm going to talk about here in just a minute. Update software. By the way, all updates are free. I mentioned earlier, it's not a monthly subscription. We always provide free updates, and there's some settings and some other things. But let me kind of hit the basics, right? So once you load your songs, the first thing is we put all the songs on there in alphabetical order, just for easy retrieval, right?
Sure.
View every song, and so that's exactly what we have right here. Okay. And then I am literally hitting my foot pedal. It's 3 buttons. The button on the left means go back. The button on the right means go forward. The button in the middle means it's like hitting your enter key, right?
Yeah.
It's like select. It's that simple. It's like a 3-button mouse in a way. We also include a Bluetooth wireless keyboard with a trackpad, so you can edit your songs and your set lists directly on the prompter. So you don't have to go back and forth to your computer. You
Nice.
can actually do it directly on the prompter. And we've got a text editor built in. It's real easy to use. It uses Windows shortcuts. So if you want to save it, you do Control S. You want to exit, you do Control X. You want to copy, you do Control C. You want to paste, Control V. So even though technically this is Linux, But we set it up to where people that are familiar with the traditional copy and paste, you can do that. So that's pretty nice.
Nice.
But yeah, but that prevents you from having to go back and forth to your computer if you need to make tweaks to your set list or to your songs. But yeah, so first and foremost, you have the songs in alphabetical order. Now, let's say you have a gig coming up and you want to put your songs in order. That's where your set list come into play. And then so it's just like right here, double click to edit a set list. So I'm just going to actually just do that because I've got set list editing turned on. And this right here, you can see it brings up the text editor. And let's see if my keyboard's plugged in. It is. Let's say I want to open up with "Come On, Eileen," right? So I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to Control Exit to cut, paste, boom. And then every time you have a blank line, that means it starts a new set.
Okay.
So now American Girl goes into the next set. Okay.
Got it.
So then Control S to save. I can save it as is. I can save as a different file, just like you normally would. And I can Control X, or I can in the top right hand corner, I can just close it, and then you're done. It's
nice.
It's literally that simple. Okay. So you can create set lists. It supports up to 1,000 set lists. You can delete old set lists if you want directly in the box. Not a big deal. Let's see what else. You can display a startup image. Now, this is kind of cool. Why would you want to display your startup image immediately? Well, when you go on break, maybe you want your startup image to be your band's logo.
Mm-hmm.
So when you display the startup image, now I've just got a logo of the heavy metal pedal as mine, but pretend that's your band's logo.
Mm-hmm.
Then people that are being nosy and they wander on stage, they look over and they think it's a stage prop. They have no idea it's a lyrics prompter.
Yep. Or what if you decided that you wanted to put the QR code to like your band's Linktree on it? So that it's like an opportunity for people to like promote, like get some promo information or get your deets.
Brilliant. Yes, you absolutely could do that. And then you could just turn the prompter around during break and say, "Hey guys, come scan the QR code." Which you just reminded me of another feature. Speaking of QR codes, so we have a really cool feature on here called Singalong that I don't think anybody else offers. And Singalong is just as the name implies. Let me get back. Where was I? Number 3 here. Singalong is so it says Singalong, show Singalong. Okay, so every box gets its own QR label. Okay, this is unique to your box. Okay. What happens is your audience, member from your audience, scans this QR code, and then they will start to see the lyrics on their phone in real time that you see.
That's rad.
So they can sing along with you. And I'm telling you, a lot of times, most people in the audience, they might know the chorus or they're vaguely familiar with the words, but they don't know every word. How cool would it be to just put the words in front of them, right on their smartphones? No app needed. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they need to connect to the internet. But there's no app needed. People are, how many apps on our phone do we not even use ever, right? So you're not having to download an app. So that's a pretty cool feature. And we talked a little bit about wireless sync where you can synchronize multiple boxes and whatnot. We do support mirror mode, like in Apple's mirroring, but we don't really recommend it because when there's congested networks, and this is not a fault of our software. It's a limitation of the technology.
Bandwidth,
Sometimes it just has a hard time connecting, or there's a lag or latency, and we don't really recommend it. It's kind of an emergency mirror mode, we say, but it is there just in case you need it. Oh, one more thing too, before I forget, Adam, I mentioned the internet. So you can hop out to the internet. You do have Wi-Fi. And you can open up. You can start browsers like presently set to YouTube. If I wanted to change this to say Ultimate Guitar, I could say, hey, let's make our homepage ultimateguitar.com. And then when I go to start browser, it'll take a minute, but it will actually go out to Ultimate Guitar. You can download songs directly from Ultimate Guitar right down to your prompter.
Nice.
Again, you don't need to get your laptop out or your computer out and use the thumb drive and go back and forth and whatnot. I mean, it will actually launch it, and you can go save the PDF and then off for the races. It'll even convert your PDF to text. So you can use the text base. Now, a lot of times when it converts to text, it gets a bunch of jumbled characters and things like that because of the nature of it. But again, you can use the text editor and clean it up. But the whole point is so you don't have to go back and forth with your computer.
The scenarios that popped in my head as you were talking through them was like, okay, maybe you're doing live band karaoke, which my band does, and somebody makes a request up for a song that we haven't done before, but like we could probably put it together. Somebody wanted to do Ring of Fire. Like, yeah, we could probably figure that out. I just need to get the lyrics figured out. So being able to like do that on the fly would be super helpful. That's a phenomenal value prop.
Yeah, and speaking of live band karaoke, we do have on some of our products it's called the Black Box Prompter Pro. Oh, let me back up. We have like three main products, right? We have the flagship product, the Black Box Prompter, which we just talked through the all the software is built in, right? We have one that we call the Echo Pro, and the Echo Pro is basically no CPU inside, but you have the benefits of the form factor of the cabinet, the
Yep.
shatterproof shield, all the HDMI and USB connections that you need to run your iPad. So maybe you're running an iPad with a Songbook Pro or OnSong or some sort of software that has your lyrics, right? Or Ableton, if you're live
Yep.
band karaoke or whatever, connect your laptop to the thing. So you can have the benefits of having the cabinet and then use your laptop, and it'll all work, through the Echo Pro. As long as your software is smart enough to turn it into portrait mode. A
Yep.
lot of times, if it's stuck on landscape, it's going to look weird because
Right.
this only comes in portrait mode right now when you're
Right.
vertical portrait mode. But as long as your software supports the orientation, then you're good. Now, so that's the Echo Pro, and then the newest product is called the Black Box Prompter Pro.
Okay.
That takes best of both worlds. Okay, so then you have the prompter with internal software, or if you want to use your laptop or your iPad, all you do is you flip a button and it switches the HDMI over to use your external device.
Nice.
So we also refer to it as bring your own device.
Yeah.
And that's why that was a few $100s more, is because there's a lot more connections going on, and the CPU and the foot pedal and
Right.
everything else. But again, you get best of both worlds from that. So for live band karaoke, we've got some guys that are in bands and just like you, and they do live band karaoke, or they just do plain karaoke on a Thursday night.
Sure.
Or on a Wednesday night, and it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to get all the monitors out, run all the HDMIs and all this stuff. Man, just bring your Black Box Prompter Pro with you, and then pull up YouTube or pull up whatever software. I think there's a few websites now that are
Yep.
pretty good, and then just boom. I mean, this supports, again, this Wi-Fi, it supports it. So it's kind of a self-contained all-in-one solution, so you don't have to get a bunch of TVs out. It's all right there.
All right. So we've got a bit of a product spread here. Let's talk dollars and cents. What are we looking at for each of these different product options?
Yeah, so three products. So we'll start with the Black Box Prompter. Everything we talked about, the one that's built, heavy duty shatterproof shield, including the foot pedal, all the software plus the free software updates. It's all built in, the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Singalong, everything we just covered. Oh, by the way, it also has a 1/8 inch headphone jack. So if you need to connect headphones to it or even a speaker to it, you can certainly do that. And the magnetic cover. It retails for $15.49 right now. We're running sales all the time, so you can typically get it for around $1,400 and some change. And we also offer financing through Affirm, which I think they have packages as low as, I think, 60 something a month, 80 something a month, something like that. I don't remember. It kind of depends on credit and whatnot. So that's the Black Box Prompter. Now, the Echo Pro, that's the one where there's no CPU inside, but there's additional hookups. We have, we have USB charging, like USB A and USB C charging ports, because iPads always go dead in the middle of your performance, right? So we went ahead and baked in the iPads. You can also run your iPad through that prompter and still charge it while you're using it, so you're not draining it.
Nice.
That's another really cool feature about the Echo Pro. But that's the one. Connect your iPad, connect your laptop, MacBook, whatever. Plus have all the USB charging, and again, same kind of form factor, right? Same kind of nuts and bolts. The shatterproof shield and magnetic cover, all that's included as well. That's a little bit cheaper because it doesn't have the CPU, but that one retails for $14.99. Right now it's on sale for $13.99. But let's say you want best of both worlds, because the Echo Pro doesn't come with the foot pedal, right? Because the foot pedal won't work with your with your iPad. If you do want to air, you might want to use an AirTurn. We're actually talking to them about a partnership, but AirTurn Bluetooth pedal to control your iPad. Not related, because remember, there's no CPU inside the Echo Pro, right? So, but then the last one that has best of both worlds, I keep referring, is you get your smart prompter plus connect your external device. You can there's a toggle switch to go either way. That MSRP is for $19.99. It's on sale right now for $18.99. But again, that's everything. That has the internal software, and then you can bring whatever device you want to, and then you're off to the races. So
Nice. So yeah, the idea that you have some options as far as the whatever features you need, because there are a lot of folks that we interact with and are in our Patreon community that are using different things like stage tracks, or we use Band Helper and Ableton for certain things. And so the fact that you have some different touch points where you can integrate with those things or do it completely self-contained within the box is awesome. We love a versatile product. When we were at NAMM, I went around, I saw a lot of different products. I feel like you guys were probably the most concerned with the needs and wants of like people who are actually like doing it. I feel like some of the other companies it was just more of this is an AV solution that, we're just, it's a TV in a box, and that's what it's designed to do. Whereas you guys have actually gone to the trouble like, hey, what would it look like if you needed to transpose on the fly, or how many different ways could you import things from different sources? Like I like the fact, because we as musicians tend to kind of be locked into our particular workflows, and the fact that your product is very much like, we work with you, like you don't work with us, like we're going to do what we can to make sure that we kind of hook into what it is you're already doing is a really cool way to kind of approach things. So I do definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the thing is too, we're looking at this through the lens of a cover band musician.
Sure.
Right? My business partner is a drummer. He's been in and out of cover bands for 40 years. I'm in 2 active cover bands myself. And so we talk to a lot of cover bands in the area, and not just in the area. I mean, even Nashville. I did some market research a few months ago in Nashville, going up and down Broadway, and those guys are making a career, trying to make a career out of it. And, they're playing and how often do they get requests that they're vaguely familiar with? And they're like, they don't want to turn down a potential tip.
Sure. Because that's all they're making.
Yeah, and so quick little story about my experience in Nashville. Got really good feedback too. I mean, I definitely want to go back there later this year. Being a music nerd that I am, it's just a kid in a candy store. I could live there practically. For me, it wouldn't get old. My wife would probably say, yeah, that's old hat. But for me, I love it anyway. But I got really good feedback, because one of the things I noticed is every single cover band musician, every single one of them on Nashville, had what in their face? They
had a phone.
Every single one, 100%. It was 100%. Not even iPads. It was a phone.
Yeah, it was phones.
Because I guess that's more portable, and somebody would come up, and say, hey, what's your request? And you're like, give me a second, and they'd hop out to their favorite lyric site or ultimate guitar, and it would kill the flow, right? The momentum, it was just a buzzkill. Because it took them a good 2 minutes to find it, but, hey guys, okay, we're in the key of C, whatever. And by then, people are just, waiting, And I'm like, man, how cool would it be if we had something where you had almost instant retrieval of songs? So I took this experience back to my business partner. Remember, he builds AIs from scratch. I said, Todd, what if you could talk to the black box and say, hey, black box, pull up the words to Sweet Caroline. Not in the key of B, in the key of A. And it pulls it up and it retrieves it and it transposes it, boom, in real time. And so we're building that right now. And
that's awesome.
So we're working on a solution where you can do instant voice recognition. And that's just one example, right? That's pulling up lyrics and chords. You could build instant set lists, right? You could likely, I don't know, I mean, we got to test it, but I imagine if you don't have the song already preloaded on your box, go out to the internet and find it and scrape it, and get it down to your box within seconds, not minutes.
Right.
That's what we're aiming for. So that was one big takeaway from Nashville. The other big takeaway is a lot of the musicians, they said, man, this is cool. But they were brutally honest with me. They said, man, this is kind of big and bulky, and I've got to go up, 2 miles up Broadway to my next, I'm not gonna lug this thing around from gig. He goes, if this is gonna work, you're gonna need to talk to the venue owners, and they need to outfit us with these. I said, okay, that's fair. Which we're going down that route. We're gonna be talking to the club owners and stuff, and seeing just like they have your EV speaker wedges and and all that. We're gonna hey man, wouldn't it be cool to have a black box right there, and then you solve the whole issue of iPads in the face.
Right.
You get the iPhones out of the face. So I think that's going to be cool. But we want to take a step further, and it's like, man, how cool would it be to build something more portable? So we are actually we're in the process of building. It's not ready yet. Give us about a month or so. But we're going to be building, I think we're going to call it the Flip. I haven't decided. But imagine like a laptop monitor, like super thin, right? But two of them, okay? And it's just like a clamshell. It just claps down.
Oh, okay.
And it's like 5 or 6 pounds.
Okay.
But it's going to be plenty big. It's probably going to be 3 to 4 times the size of your biggest iPad. But it'll have all the software. You have a little thing that attaches to it. It'll have all the software ready to go. So that's what we're working on next. We're working on a super lightweight, super portable prompter that you can cart from venue to venue, club to club. Stay tuned on that. It's not out yet, but you're the first one I've actually mentioned that to.
I would be very interested in that as a person who carries a full PA, and
Let's talk. Maybe you'll be our first early adopter. You can help us iron out the kinks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I'm on board. That sounds great. So we've talked a lot about this product and what it can do. How do people get them?
Best way, I mean, we're on Amazon, we're on Reverb, but the best way is go to the website. You're going to find the best deal there, blackboxprompter.com. Do check the show notes because we're providing you guys with your own discount. Your listeners get $100 off.
Nice.
The prompter. Only exception is like on Black Friday, because then we would lose money. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we don't. But 99% of the times of the year, you're going to get the $100 off. And so that promo code is discount for CBC. That's the number 4. Discount for CBC. And so check the show notes with a link already, tied to it, or just plug that into the promo code field when you check out, and you'll see the $100 off your order.
Fantastic.
But yeah, blackboxprompter.com. Check it out. A couple other things I want to mention real quick. There is a 30-day no questions asked return. So if you're like, man, this is not a fit, no problem at all. We just ask that you pay the return shipping back, but then you'll get a full refund on your original purchase. And then it does come with a 1-year parts and labor warranty. If you register, we'll extend it 2 more years. So you get 3 years parts and labor warranty, which is unheard of in this business. Yeah. 3 years is an awful long time, and we don't charge for that. We just ask that you register your product, and you're good. And then free shipping in the U.S. in the continental 48 states. No, we do not charge for shipping. We absorb that for you guys, so you don't have to get sticker shock, when you check out.
Awesome, so. Tori, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to us, and I can't wait for folks to get a chance to check out your stuff. And hopefully, we'll have you back when something new and shiny comes down the line, and we can talk about it then.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And then one more thing too, if any of the Coverband Confidential folks actually end up using the prompter, I would love to hear from them, and because we will feature you on our website. We have kind of a musician of the month thing we do, and we have a whole gallery of folks using the prompter, in the wild, and it's a pretty cool. We almost have like I don't want to call it a cult like following, but the guys that have the prompters absolutely love it. They really, really do. And so Adam, you and I are going to talk more because I think based on what you went through recently, I think we have a good solution for you.
Awesome. Yep. That's going to do it for this week, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. If you want to support the show, you can do any of the stuff you're about to hear, but I'll go ahead and call it for this week in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Adam Johnson, and you have been listening to the Coverband Confidential podcast for the week of June 6, 2025.